Hi and welcome back. This week we'll look at creating cell phone videos for use in your classroom. Now many of us have created videos for our own use many times. Some of us may have created cell phone videos for our classroom already. The technical process is not very involved, so that part will be easy to learn. But we just want to talk about some considerations in the planning, preparation, design of these videos. So let's get started. Okay, let's start with the question of why create cell phone videos at all. And there's a couple of good reasons here. One is that some things are simply location dependent. So let's say that I was visiting Haddonfield, the site of the first discovery of dinosaur bones in New Jersey. And maybe I was there with my family or on a personal trip. But to take a couple of minutes and to create some video and share that with my students could be very effective. Perhaps myself or someone else is out in the field in a wetlands environment and wants to illustrate aspects of that environment. How much more effective would that be to have students feel that they're immersed in that environment as opposed to collecting maybe some pictures and putting them in a presentation? Okay, another good reason for making cell phone video would be a hands-on demonstration. Perhaps it's a science lab. Perhaps it's teaching them how to complete a particular project. Now, we can always give a description of how to do that. We can give a checklist. We can take some photographs and we can, augment their experience with photographs. But how much more effective to see the actual thing in progress? Okay, so that's the second reason. And simply, not everything can be brought as effectively to a computer screen. So some things are better experienced in real life, and while video is not real life, it's a closer approximation than some of the other methods that are available to us. While we're talking about this, I just want you to think about one thing, or keep one thing in mind, and that's that if you're considering actually filming any students or any adults, remember privacy policies and issues. So I would never record someone else without their permission, and in the case of students, we have to make sure that first of all the proper paperwork has been done in advance. But I would even consider not doing it at that point, or at least not doing it where students are recognizable, because this is going to be shared up on YouTube, which basically makes it available to the world. Okay, some considerations when you actually shoot your video. First, consider sound and audio. So consider background noises when you're filming this. Something as simple as an air conditioning unit or a lot of traffic can really impact that video and make it less effective, make it frankly somewhat annoying. So when possible, you can't always control those factors, but when you can, think about it in advance to see what you can do to limit that type of thing. Also consider whether you're going to include a narration afterwards, because that's possible. It's possible to shoot something out in the field and with some simple free tools put your own voice narration over the top of it. So give that some thought before you start. Secondly, you should plan or script or practice what you're going to do before you whip out that cell phone and start. You're going to get a more complete product. You're going to get a better organized product. Okay, number three, in some situations, especially if you were interviewing someone or showing a particular aspect of your video, or particular process in your video, consider the light source. Light behind your subject is generally or almost always bad. It will tend to silhouette the object or person, whereas light in front will tend to illuminate them and make them clear. So consider that. Maybe do a 3 or 4 second test video, see how it comes out. But you would never stand somebody in front of a window and film them, unless you were looking for a silhouette. Okay, when you yourself are speaking, do so in a clear, well-paced voice. It's just basic presentation skills, but these are now being recorded on video. So, it's a good idea to practice what we preach as far as presentation skills. Now, here's one that I find that people often miss in the beginning. And I've got that listed as 3 seconds. It doesn't actually have to be exactly 3 seconds. 2 seconds might be adequate. But don't be in a rush to get started speaking or zooming in on your content the second you turn on that camera. And don't be in a rush to stop the video when you're done. Leave a couple of seconds before, maybe a 3 count. 1, 2, 3. Now I start speaking, or now I start working with the main content or the main processes of my video. And then when I'm done, leave that camera running for another 3 seconds, silently counting. 1, 2, 3. And the reason for this is that you may have to do, and probably will have to do, some editing of a video like this. It's not quite as easy to get in one take as, say, a screencast or even something made from a PowerPoint or a Powtoon or some other thing. So you want to leave a little room before and after for things like transitions and editing. And having that can be a real advantage to you. Also, think in terms of shooting in segments. I mean, you might be able to get this in a single take, but you don't have to throw away video because you've made a mistake or you've gotten off track 2 minutes into what you're doing. And secondly, you may want to think about this from, in certain circumstances, from different angles, from different locations. And so think about how you would break those up, and you can do those in parts, and that's fine. Okay, and lastly, you want to record this video, if at all possible, in a horizontal orientation. Most of our screens are, with the exception of cell phones, but most of our screens are generally in that horizontal orientation. 16 by 9 generally, today. Older screens would be in a 4 by 3 relationship. But if you shoot in a vertical orientation, when this thing is eventually posted to YouTube, what you're going to wind up with is these black blocks on either side in a smaller visual space. So a good idea to always shoot in horizontal orientation, if at all possible. And that about does it. So we just want you to get out there this week and first think of a topic that you'd like that would lend itself well to shooting a video with your cell phone. Plan it, script it a little bit, get your footage. Next week we'll look about how to bring that into an environment and to do some editing on it and spruce it up and make it a finished product.